This is episode 159 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Brian Davis. Brian is the co-founder of Spark Rental. And at Spark Rental, this is a group investing club. They focus on fractional real estate investing. And this was built after Brian's own experience in investing. Brian, welcome to the show.
Donovan, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was, of course, on your podcast. We did 3 spots there. And I'm glad to get you over here.
Oh, well, we had such a fun conversation at ours. I'm pumped to be here and have a chat with you and your audience.
Yeah, me too. Well, so Brian, when do you remember the first time yourself being interested in real estate?
Oh man, I fell into real estate by accident.
It happens.
Yeah,
Like a puddle.
I graduated college in 2003, which of course I'm dating myself here, but I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Zero idea. And I just started asking around among my parents' friends, like, hey, can I just come chat with you on a random Tuesday morning and see what it is that you actually do? Because, you grow up and like 5 career jobs, right? Like 5
Right.
jobs, like firefighter,
Yeah.
astronaut, and you just don't know what normal people in the private sector do. So anyway, I fell into a job working for a hard money lender, actually. Or technically, it was 2 guys who ran a nationwide subprime mortgage lending company, which in 2003 was cool, right? That was before they got vilified.
Yeah.
But on the side of this nationwide lending company that they lent their own private money as hard money loans. So at the end of a summer internship, the guys basically said, "Hey, we don't need another loan officer doing 30-year fixed mortgages for Joe Schmo homeowner. What we need is someone to do hard money loans for us." And I said, "Sure." I don't have anything else going on. But of course, in the process of working with investors for hard money loans, I got introduced to the world of real estate investing, and watching all these guys make money hand over fist in the mid aughts. And of course,
Yeah, they were killing it.
of course, I'm like, I could do this too. So
Yeah.
I went out, overspent on a ton of rental properties, and 2008 hit me like a ton of bricks. Of course, the rest is history. But I fell in love with real estate and the notion of passive income from real estate, building a whole side business around real estate investing. That was my first introduction to all of that. And despite how hard of a landing I had in 2008, I've been in the industry ever since.
So you give us a little info about Spark Rental, why you guys started it, and how it's become a fractional real estate investing model without all the headaches. But it's different than syndication.
Spark Rental, it's been a winding road. One of the things, just a high level observation about entrepreneurship in general, is that the business that you think you're in or that you think you're getting into is not necessarily the business that the market thinks you should be in and wants you to be in.
Yeah.
So, when my co-founder and I started Spark Rental back in 2016, our vision was to create an online property management software designed for mom and pop landlords. Because at the time, there wasn't really a good one. Today there are a few good options out there for.
I mean, good might be stretching it, Brian. But
Well, what happened was so in the course of putting together software for landlords to manage their properties, that took way longer than we expected it to. So, we launched a blog, we launched a podcast, we launched online courses, about real estate investing and building passive income and financial independence and all of these things that people get into real estate investing to do. And the question that our students and our audience members kept asking us over and over again was, "Hey, I've got a little bit of money to invest in real estate. I'm not quite ready to go out and buy my first property. Can I just invest with you guys in your next project?" And I was living overseas at the time. I'm still living overseas. And my partner, who's later in her career, she's in her 60s now and no longer actively buying rental properties.
yeah.
So we kept saying, no, we can't do that. And, after God knows how many dozens of times we heard that question, the light bulb went off. We're like, maybe we should actually consider this. Maybe the market is trying to tell us something. So, we sat down and we're like, all right, what would it look like to say yes to that? And so we started experimenting with that notion of co-investing. And our first foray into that was sitting down with an active investor. There's a guy in Michigan who we partnered with him on a couple deals, and we let in some of our core students on those investments with us. And those investments did fine. It was around that time that I had started investing passively in real estate syndications, and I'd kind of discovered that side of the business just personally.
Yeah.
And so I went to my partner and I said, "Hey, buying individual properties, that is not scalable. But what if we tried doing some passive real estate investments and opening these up to our audience, to our course students as well?" And it worked. It was our audience members loved it. Initially, it was just our course students, but then we said, well, could we open this up to the public? Does it have to just be our course students? So, we sat down with an attorney and had hashed out those conversations. And that was how our co-investing club in its current model was born. So today it is open to the public. It's a flat membership fee model. Every month we get together, we vet a new deal. Any club members who want to participate in that deal can do so with $5,000 or more. Collectively, we're investing, 150, 250, 350, whatever it is that month. But no one has to invest. It's purely, it's a peer run club basically. That's just administered by my partner and I. It's not a fund of funds. We get that question all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're a fund of funds? No, it is not a fund of funds. We don't get any cut of the money that is invested. We're not selling securities. We
You're
have
just
no interest.
co-investing.
It's co-investing. Yeah. It's an investment club. Kind of like your old school stock investment club where people would get together and sip brandy snifters or whatever, and they talk about stocks.
Yeah.
But instead of stocks, it's passive real estate investments.
So when you started, you said before that you overpaid for a bunch of rental properties, and then 2008 happened to a lot of us. But what mistakes did you make when you first started buying that you think could help investors in this market?
Yeah, well, it's so embarrassing to say. When I first started buying rental properties, I didn't even know how to calculate cash flow, how to forecast cash flow on a single family rental property. I mean, I was sitting there still thinking that it was the rent minus the mortgage, which
Right, that's it. It's
uh,
easy.
I
Yeah,
mean, in retrospect, it's truly embarrassing to say. But one of the rules of thumb that we talk about sometimes on our blog or on our podcast, just to help new investors wrap their heads around this concept, is the 50% rule, that roughly half of the rent every month of a single family home, single family rental property, will go to non-mortgage expenses. And those do include property taxes and property insurance, which get rolled into the mortgage.
yeah,
But by non-mortgage expenses, I mean everything other than principal and interest on a loan. When people first hear that, when novice income investors first hear that, their initial reaction is, well, how could I ever find a property that's going to cash flow?
right.
And my point is that is exactly the lesson you should be taking away from that. It's really
Yeah,
hard to find properties that cash flow well. And professional investors, they're out there doing mass mail campaigns, direct mail and, SMS marketing campaigns and email campaigns. They're hitting up, pre-foreclosures and people in divorce and, probate sales and all that stuff. They have an entire business system in place to find off-market deals because those are really the ones that are going to cash flow for you. It's really hard to go out on the MLS and find a property that's actually going to cash flow for you well.
syndications are number one are very complicated for people to understand, especially as a novice investor. Sure, everybody says, hey, it's passive investment, but there's a lot of due diligence that needs to be done. And they do a lot of due diligence, as you said, on you. Those values, I really don't see much going in lower than 50 grand on a syndication. So you do have to have substantial, or you need to be accredited in the first place. So it's hard to get in. This is an option that can help you get in there.
You mentioned accredited investors. So part of our mission from the very beginning is inclusivity and serving all of our members,
Yeah.
not just accredited investors. We
Yeah.
have a lot of members who are accredited investors, but we also have a lot of members who are non-accredited who want access to these deals. And when you're a non-accredited investor and you're just entering this space, you really have two huge challenges. Yeah, you have several, but one is that a lot of these investments are just not open to you at all, right? They only allow accredited investors. Another challenge is the ones that do allow non-accredited investors, by law, sponsors cannot advertise 506B
right.
syndications to the public. So if you're a non-accredited investor
You can't
and no
find
one
it.
can, and how do you find them? Because no one can advertise them to you
Yeah.
as a member of the public. So that's really hard as a non-accredited investor to even find any sponsors to who will take your money.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole money aspect itself. It's hard to come up with
Right.
50
Yeah.
grand, 100 grand to
Yeah.
invest. But yeah, I mean, even if you have the money, it's really hard to find reputable, reliable sponsors who allow non-accredited investors because they can't advertise to you. So these are some of the hurdles that we are trying to solve for with our club. So every deal that we vet together as a club allows non-accredited investors. And our LLC that we form to invest through, that is itself a non-accredited investor because some of the
Right.
members are non-accredited investors.
Right.